The next financial crisis and stock market crash. That is what we're talking about today. No intro, no BS. I just want to get straight to the action, guys. Now, you know I'm on record on this channel of saying I do not believe there will be a recession or stock market crash in 2017. We're about 6 months out of 2016 being over. I still feel that way. I do not believe in 2017 we're going to have a recession, a stock market crash. But I was just thinking about things right now, and I was like, what do I see as being the triggers that will start a massive financial crisis, a stock market crash scenario? What are the triggers I see happening that could realistically happen and send us into panic mode, bad mode, guys? And this is an interesting time for me to do this because we know the Nasdaq's having a great year right now. We know jobs numbers are strong in the United States. Like, just everything's pretty good right now, pretty good. And it's very complacent. It's a very good time where you can get complacent right now and just think like these good times are going to keep going on forever and ever, and this is just going to keep up, and this is just the way things are. Like, things are just solid. The stock market's just going to keep going up. Jobs numbers are just going to keep getting better and better, and that's not always the case. So we're gonna dive into this, guys. I hope you enjoy this today. So first thing I could see triggering and helping trigger a big financial calamity, right, is people losing retail jobs. Over the next few years, I would say over the next 3, 4, 5 years, I see millions upon millions of retail jobs being lost all across the United States. That puts millions and millions of people out of work, either trying to search for another job to do, or in the worst part is those retail workers that are going to lose those jobs. A lot of them are that's the only thing they know how to do. Stocking a shelf, ringing a register, that's a lot of, I mean, I've met a lot of great people. I was involved with retail from the time I was 17, 18 until I was about 24. Met a lot of good people in retail, a lot of people I like. I also met a lot of people that don't know how to fight their way out of a cardboard box. Like, if they lost their job at such and such retailer, like, they're fucking done. They're fucking done like a turkey that's been in the oven for 2 hours too long. Like, they're cooked, guys. They're completely done. Like, they have no clue on which way to go, what to do. They just don't have the drive to figure it out. They don't have the education to figure it out. They just, if they lost their job at such and such place tomorrow, they're going to be on food stamps and welfare and everything else tomorrow, like government healthcare, like everything. Like, that's what they're going to do until the next job, and they'll try to apply at this place and that place. And guess what? A lot of places they'll be applying to are other retailers who are also still firing employees at that time. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be really, really, really freaking ugly, guys. So this is going to put a big onus on basically the United States government, which would be a really horrible thing, especially when we have basically taxes that are supposed to go down. Like, corporations' taxes are supposed to go down. People's taxes are supposed to go down. I would love for my taxes to go down. I'm going to probably pay in more money than I've ever paid in any year in my entire life this year, right, in taxes. Like, I would love my taxes to be lower, but the issue is when you have everybody's taxes going down, at the same time you could potentially have more and more people going on welfare and food stamps and all those things because they lose these retail jobs and they just don't know how to get another job in another industry. That's a huge issue there, guys. And then you talk about defense spending being up even more than that. That's a huge issue there. So millions of jobs being lost. Then you take into account, like, how many jobs big retailers, indirectly or directly affect. So let's say the big dog at the mall goes out of business, the anchor store. Guess what? That's a lot less people going to that mall to go shopping at all those little stores. And you say, well, people aren't shopping as much at those stores. Maybe they're shopping on Amazon or e-commerce play. The e-commerce type companies, they don't employ nearly as many people as a physical retail store. Like, a physical retail store, you need way more employees than you do an online type operation, guys. So there's already been over 300 bankruptcies in retail just this year so far. We're 6 months into the year, guys. 6 months into the year, there's been over 300 retail bankruptcies. That's just the start. That's just the start, guys. There's going to be a massive amount more coming, and there's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So what you have is situations where strip malls can be losing some of their biggest tenants, which means all those other people that are in the strip malls that benefit business from people coming to those businesses, they don't get as much business that way, guys. ugly, ugly, ugly. So I see retail as being a one that's definitely a huge domino that could fall, and I see it falling no matter what. The question is, how big is it going to be? Are we talking like 1 million jobs lost over the next couple years? Are we talking 5 million jobs? In my opinion, probably toward 5 million jobs, and I'm not convinced that even half those people that are going to lose their jobs are going to be able to go find other jobs out there, because I'm just not convinced some of those employees know anything other than retail, and they're going to have to go get a job in some other industry at the end of the day, guys. It's not going to be they're going to go, they get fired at Kmart, they're going to go work at Walmart, because Walmart probably won't be looking for more employees at that time anyways, or Target, or the big department store at the mall, or Macy's, or Dillard's. We know all those companies are cutting jobs right now, guys. That's the first domino I see happening. The second domino we kind of talked about, which is basically more onus being put on the United States government, because people going on welfare, food stamps, all those type of programs, our budget's getting even more out of whack in this country. The third thing, I see massive amounts of auto jobs lost over the next 5 years. What you have is you have Tesla coming in the game, totally changing the game. We know this. We know Tesla. If you are not convinced Tesla's taking over the game, then you are just in straight denial at the end of the day. Tesla's coming in, they're taking over the game. Now, are they taking it over where like Tesla's going to make every single car produced? Absolutely not. But what you have is you have auto sales that are already falling. 2 straight months of bad automobile numbers. You look at the last 2 months, already bad. This isn't a good economy right now, guys, a good economy. And then you take into account, okay, so we're in a good economy, auto sales are falling, and Tesla hasn't even ramped up production really yet. In 2018, Tesla's supposed to be able to produce 500,000 cars. 500,000. By 2020, they're talking about 1 million. You take 1 million cars being sold to Tesla versus being sold to Ford and GM and Chrysler and all those other automobile companies that are outside of the United States. That puts a huge burden on all those companies, because then those companies have to find ways to make their numbers, so they cut price however they have to. They do this, they do that, they skimp on quality, they fire employees, all these things. It's a bad situation, guys, and massive amounts of jobs are going to be lost. And you could say, well, maybe Ford and GM and Chrysler will beat out all the other ones. I'm not convinced that they're going to be able to beat out Nissan and beat out Honda and beat out Toyota and all these other companies that compete, guys. I'm not convinced that, just the United States will be the winners. So Tesla will benefit because they're kind of the big dog coming in, right? They're going to benefit huge from all this. But, maybe one of the big automakers make it through this. Maybe one of the big ones actually make it through. You got to think, guys, you got to think. Ford and GM, right, are trading at ridiculously low valuations right now. Like we're talking like, PEs that are just insane for what the market's trading at right now, right? Those are companies that are understood extremely well by every single mutual fund manager, every single hedge fund manager out there. Every single high net worth person understands the automobile industry. This isn't like some kind of complex thing that the 60-year-olds don't understand. This isn't Snapchat or Facebook or Google ads or anything like that. Like this is simple stuff. Like this is every single person with money understands this. Why are all those people not putting money in those stocks? It's not like they're going under the radar. It's not like Ford and GM are under the radar and they're like, really small companies that maybe the mutual fund manager or hedge fund manager doesn't see, right? No, these are huge corporations that everybody sees. Everybody knows what type of value they're trading at, and yet they don't want to buy them. What does that tell you? What does that tell you when you got a company that's easily understood by everybody and the big dogs aren't putting money into those stocks? That probably shows you that those companies are going to come upon some very hard times, and they've already reached peak valuations already, guys. So what you have is you have a situation where massive amounts of jobs, there's talk about 7 to 8 million jobs in the United States of America are related to the auto industry, right? Tons of those jobs will be lost because let's say, you lose a GM, then you're going to lose not just the employees that work at a GM, right? But you lose all the indirect, or direct beneficiaries of GM, the ones that make that radiator hose, right? The ones that make the propeller on the car, that's it up in the front of the car. The one that makes this screw that goes in this part. Like all these manufacturers all get hit. They all get hit and they all start having to cut jobs or completely lose their business at the end of the day. So you got 2 huge industries in the United States of America, 2 of the biggest industries out there that employs the most amount of people. Retail, automotive, 2 of the biggest industries in America, right? both being completely under attack right now. And you're looking at millions upon millions of jobs being lost over the next few years from those industries, regardless of what happens. Regardless of what happens. Millions of people looking for jobs somewhere else. Then what you're going to have happen after that is you're going to have liquidity crisis in the startup market. If you went around Silicon Valley and you try to find which companies were profitable versus which ones are not profitable, you'd find about this many companies that are actually profitable. You'd find about this many companies that are unprofitable right now. They're all being funded by these angel investors that are putting money in them, hoping that that's the next Instagram, that's the next Snapchat, that's the next Facebook, that's the next Netflix or Pandora or YouTube or whatever. They're just throwing money, trying to hope that they hit the winner, right? And maybe if 1 out of 20 is a winner, then they're going to win huge on that, and they'll make 100 times their money or 1,000 times their money. You'll have liquidity dry up, because then at that point, if all those jobs are being lost, then you have a situation where all those angel investors are seeing this, the IPO market will start to dry up. If the IPO market dries up, as far as not as many companies being able to go public and make a lot of money when they go public, those kinds of things, just the investor interest in those companies aren't out there, then there's no payoff at the end of the day for all those angel investors. There's no payoff, because the IPO is the payoff. That's the big payday for those guys and gals. So if there's no payoff there because the IPO market's weak, then all those startups that are funding their businesses that are losing millions upon millions of dollars right now, they're not going to get funding, guys. They're not going to get funding. It's not going to be like, oh, you lost $40 million this year? Great job. Here's another $40 million to spend next year, or here's even $50 million. That's what's going on right now with these companies. That's not going to be going on when massive amounts of jobs are being lost around the country, and when the whole market's getting weaker and angel fund managers can see all this happening, and the payoff's not there when it comes IPO day. So, you're going to go from a situation where Silicon Valley right now, it's so hard to find workers, and these workers are making top dollar, to a situation where you're going to have massive amounts of people out of jobs, because literally, if you said tomorrow you can't fund all these businesses that are losing mass amounts of money, the amount of the amount of people that would lose their jobs, guys, it would be startling. It would be absolutely startling. You would be able to pay, engineers that are making $150,000 right now, you'd be able to pay them $40,000, because they would just be a dime a dozen right now, because so many of them are working for companies that are losing money quarter after quarter, month after month, year after year, and it doesn't take a hero to lose money at the end of the day, guys. So that's a huge situation. And then you gotta figure, what happened from 2000 to 2006 in the tech sector? There was hardly any innovation, because there was nothing going on. You had the tech crisis in 2000, and then you had almost no innovation. It was like a dark period from 2000 to 2006. The amount of tech innovation, the amount of companies that were created that actually did something during those years, super low, guys, like super low. There was no innovation. I see us going into one of those potential periods as soon as the liquidity dries up, to fund all these companies. As soon as that happens, I see absolutely we're going into another dark period in tech where for the last, since basically 2007, when the iPhone was launched, right? That is when the tech renaissance happened again. And it's been going on for 10 years now, guys. 10 years of tech renaissance. And you have all these huge companies come out of that time, all small companies come out of that time, a ton of failed companies come out of that time. A lot of people made massive amounts of money during this time, the last 10 years in the tech sector. I see us absolutely going into a dark ages for 5-10 years, the next time the liquidity all dries up, guys. Absolutely. Number 5, what you have happen then is you have credit cards start to be defaulted on, auto loans start to be defaulted on, bank loans start to be defaulted on, and liquidity for everyone dries up. Liquidity for everyone. You have everybody pulling back their strings. You have banks going under, all these kinds of things, guys, and that's just leads you into another big financial crisis. That leads you into a stock market crash at that point, and then just straight panic begins to set in. It's just straight panic at that point, and it's a survival of the fittest. Who's going to be able to make it at the end of the day? But those are the triggers I see happening the next time a financial crisis happens, and what could lead up to it. My question is, you know, when government's thinking about these things, is government even thinking about, you know, the massive amounts of retail jobs lost right now? You know, I've heard a lot of, you know, things on the political campaign that were talked about, oh, we're going to save coal jobs or save this industry. Those industries are little guys. Those are little guy industries when you compare them to retail, when you compare them to auto. Little guy industries. So my question for government is, what are you paying attention to this? Are you even thinking about, shit, what if 5 million auto jobs are lost over the next year and Tesla only creates 200,000 more auto jobs because that's all they need versus what's going to be lost? Are they thinking about that? Are they thinking about almost regardless, 5 million plus retail jobs will probably be lost over the next 5 years? Are they thinking about this stuff? And it's not just that, but are the people that are in these situations that are going to lose their jobs, are they thinking about this? Are they thinking about, well, what's the next thing for me? I can almost guarantee you they're probably not, guys. I can almost guarantee you the majority of those people are not thinking that right now, and it's going to catch everybody off guard, and everybody's going to go, whoa, what the hell happened? And it's going to be ugly, guys. So the question is, when does all this play out? How bad does it get? That's going to be interesting to see. Well, you know, I don't, like I said, I don't feel it's going to happen this year. But 2018, I don't know. I'm just going to have to see how things progress throughout the year. Look at the numbers, look at the facts behind things, not just my opinion, and then we're going to see and we're going to go with some things. But, you know, it's factual. Massive amounts of retail jobs are going to be lost versus what's going to be gained from working at the Amazon distribution. Massive amounts of jobs in the auto sector are going to be lost unless somehow Ford and GM and Chrysler all pull a rabbit out of their hat and all succeed just as much. I'm not convinced of that, guys. I'm absolutely not convinced of that at all. Maybe one of them makes it through. Maybe one of them at the end of the day. So let me know in that comment section what you guys think. You know, I would love to hear from you guys in that comment section on your opinion on this whole deal, guys. I just... you know, it's not fun to talk about. It's not fun to talk about, but we need to talk about it. If you just came across this channel, you may want to subscribe. We talk personal finance on the channel. We talk entrepreneurship. I'm an actual business owner. I give away so many business tips. We talk stock market investing more than anything. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a great day.